I'm Pastor Alan Jackson. We've had the privilege of partnering with Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA. It was an honor to stand with them. All of us are grieving Charlie's absence, but here's the reality. We have an assignment. We're not stopping. We're going to continue forward with what Charlie invested his life in. Now it's our turn to lead with faith. We're going to make an impact in this generation for the kingdom of God. We have some resources for you. You can go to alanjackson.com/Charlie. Together, we're going to make a difference in this generation.
We mentioned George Conway.
Yeah.
This is clip 81. It is him trolling, as he puts it. He was wearing an I Am Antifa shirt during the protest. Cut 81.
You were wearing a T-shirt that was designed to troll Donald Trump?
Yeah, it said, I am Antifa. And I think a guy from the Daily Caller took a photograph of it, and then it was some kind of gotcha on conservative media. But, it's just completely silly.
Yeah, some gotcha, just joking about domestic terrorists. No big deal, guys. George Conway is he's a real peach. That guy. I don't want to get into too many details, but here, what's funny? It just occurs to me with MSNBC. There was an article out of Free Beacon, and it's wild. They basically have, in the third quarter of 2025, MSNBC averaged just 41,000 daytime viewers and 66,000 primetime viewers under the age of 55. So when you look at these protests and you're like, wow, they're all of a certain age and demographic, as you noted, Mikey, this is why, because only 10% of MSNBC's audience is in the coveted 24 to 54 age range, which is, that's how you make money. And yet they're paying like Rachel Maddow $25 million a year to do one day of programming a week and to make documentaries nobody watches.
Yeah, how many of these boomers missed marching in the civil rights marches or missed marching during COVID because they're too scared to leave their houses or wouldn't eat anywhere without 3 masks and 12 gloves on? And I find it funny that they're all marching in the streets now. And the demographic, it is all old white boomers. You could not see a single young person in the crowd yesterday.
There was one, and I want you guys to put up the image of Lucy Martinez. So Lucy Martinez is a teacher at Nathan Hale Elementary School in Chicago. And some conservatives went through the crowd, and they started getting taunts from these protesters. And this one is Lucy Martinez. And she started motioning to her neck with a gun and pulling the trigger. And she did it repeatedly. And then the internet did what the internet does and found out that she is, in fact, a teacher of young kids. Yeah. The school has taken down its X account and basically wiped the they've deleted any presence online, including X page and the official school webpage. And the school has yet to provide an official response. I think this should be pretty easy, Nathan Hale Elementary School. The answer is we have fired Miss Martinez for being an abject failure of a human, and we apologize, and we will screen our teachers better in the future. And we apologize for any harm or distress that this has caused the student body. It won't happen again. We're so sorry. And that's all. Just fire her quickly. I don't know what is going to take you so long other than maybe you're beholden to the teachers union. Yeah, here's the video. It's just amazing to watch grown adults behave in such a hideous, disgusting manner.
I thought you put out an excellent tweet yesterday about how many public school teachers are the ones motioning in such disgusting manners, and also speaking out and celebrating the death of a political opponent. These are the people that are entrusted to be teaching your children. That when you're at work for the day, you're leaving your child with these people. I don't think that's stated enough. I thought you had an excellent point there.
Yeah, no. So I'll drop it here for everybody. Yeah, it's one of those ones that was simple, but it seemed to resonate. He said the most vile reactions to Charlie's murder have almost all been public school teachers and professors. Tells you a lot about what America's children are facing and why TPUSA is more important than ever. And man, do I believe that, because, this is an elementary school. We don't have an elementary school program, but perhaps we should consider one in the future. But this is really it's very, very disorienting and disheartening to realize just how deep the the venom and the poison has gone, where you have a grown woman who's supposed to be teaching the next generation virtue and values and probably science and math. She's a STEM teacher. And this is what she's doing with her free time. And it's, listen, we are going to stay on Nathan Hale. You should feel free to email that. We'll get the email in the break, and we'll have people there. There's her actual personal email. I doubt that will do much good at this point. Yeah. But the people that are in charge of this woman need to be told just how disgusted we all are at her behavior and how she failed the test. This is a pop quiz in life, okay? When something happens, when you're caught on video and you are either exposed as a wonderful person or as a degenerate human and a vile monster, that's a life pop quiz. You failed. You failed, Lucy Martinez. We are disgusted for you and about you, and we certainly hope that you get your just desserts here, namely a pink slip from Nathan Hale Elementary School in Chicago. We won't hold our breath. I want to welcome Savannah Hernandez. She is an amazing journalist that we have at TPUSA Frontlines. She was in the streets covering the protests. Sav, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Andrew.
Oh, it's great to have you. I've been waiting for this, and you've been doing such great work. Like for the last month, I've been watching everything you've been putting out, and it's been really important. It's been really encouraging, actually, and just to see that the team is fighting, that we haven't missed a beat, where you are out there doing what you do best, and you're uncovering important stories that nobody else is covering. So let's hear from you. You are an eyewitness to the madness and the mayhem and the hippie commies taken to the streets all over. You were in New York City, correct?
Yes, I was in New York, the epicenter of all of the protests in the nation outside of D.C. So yes, New York City.
Awesome. What did you see? Describe it for the audience that had better things to do on Saturday, like, I don't know, watch college football or hang out with their family.
Have a normal family life. Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
Maybe barbecue.
So when I first got there, it started in Times Square, and the crowd was huge. I think the numbers can't be understated here. You had a lot of people that were in New York specifically, marching on behalf of illegal immigrants, marching on behalf of Antifa. The numbers at first are what really drew my attention. Now, the groups inside that were marching, another thing that drew my attention, specifically because Antifa had quite a presence there. And I am noticing, really interesting, after President Trump deemed Antifa a domestic terrorist organization, you now have this movement of people holding up signs of top Democrats like Zohran Mamdani, Bernie Sanders, AOC, Jimmy Kimmel, and labeling them Antifa. So there's this really interesting movement to kind of whitewash what this group really is. But of course, you have those radicals in this protest as well that were holding up a picture of a guillotine with a single MAGA hat at the bottom, kind of signaled that, or looked like they were signaling to behead MAGA people. That was interesting. He also had a big sign reading, "All Nazis go to hell," with a MAGA hat and the word ICE on the banner. And then another sign that said, the MAGA hat is the modern day KKK hat or, Nazi hat. So a lot of the typical things that we were seeing, and it's really interesting, Andrew, because I feel like you had two subsets of people. You had the protesters who had no idea why they were there, had no idea what the event was even about, couldn't even explain the concept of no kings and how it relates to President Trump. And then you had the radical left that were there to essentially state that the other half of America, the 77 million people who voted for President Trump, deserve the death penalty, essentially, because they're Nazis and they're fascists. So those were the two groups in attendance this last Saturday.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of this. There's this effort to say that Antifa doesn't exist and that it just stands for anti-fascist, which, should be a good thing, right? It should be a good thing. I actually find it bizarre that in 2025, we are still having the debate with Democrats that Antifa is a real thing, that they are a militant force of radical leftists that take to the streets to harass federal law enforcement, to harass journalists like you. I mean, Sab, you have had run-ins with Antifa. Is Antifa real?
Yes, Andrew, Antifa is 1,000% real. I have been attacked by them personally. All of my personal friends have been attacked by them. I mean, I was sitting at the Antifa roundtable just a couple weeks ago on behalf of Turning Point USA, and I got to speak with the president about what we've been seeing on the ground for years at this point, because Antifa has been terrorizing law-abiding American citizens, journalists, and quite frankly, it's been so difficult. And there was a period of time in which I was even scared to go and report on the streets of Portland because I knew that there was no police presence there, and Antifa really did run the streets. So if I got hurt, RIP to me, essentially. And this was the mindset of a lot of journalists who have been covering Antifa. And it's funny, Andrew, because the left wing has really been trying to slander everybody at that roundtable and say that we are not real journalists, because I guess real journalism in 2025 is not going to the No Kings protests and highlighting all of the protesters who are calling for violence against half the nation. I guess being a fake journalist is going and covering Antifa and putting your life on the line, trying to highlight the very well organized organization that this is and how violent they've been toward, again, law-abiding American citizens.
Well said, Sav. So I guess our emails are lighting up with people of a certain generation that are mad at me for mentioning that that there was a lot of boomers out there. And I promise you, I remember Charlie would go through this if he ever dared step foot on this landmine. So I apologize. I know better. But here I would just say one more time, please do not feel the need, if you are born before 1964, I believe is the cutoff. You do not have to defend your entire generation. You do not.
Yeah.
And we love you. We love every, patriot that loves this country and wants to put it first. I just want to say, this is not directed at you. You guys are salt of the earth, and you have kept the flame of liberty burning. So please take the compliment and don't just hear that there is a certain contingent of, hippies that never grew out of it. And that's okay to acknowledge that and to observe the truth there. So, Sav, it feels like maybe you got accosted by one of these people that I'm talking about here. Let's go ahead and play cut 60.
I'm here at the No Kings protest. I've been following this protest for about 3 hours now. I am wearing my official New York City press badge, and it says Turning Point USA on it. This is a message for all of the people who say that journalists like myself and the journalists who were at the Antifa Roundtable are agitators. I'm standing here doing nothing, and I have had people come up to me, read my press badge, and then try to make a point of telling me that Charlie was a racist anti-Semite and that I am a problem, essentially. All I'm doing is standing here and taking footage.
And I think 58 is actually part of that interaction that you were just reacting to. Let's go ahead and play cut 58.
So you found out that I work for Turning Point, and you said you can't stand here and talk with me because why?
Because Charlie Kirk was a racist, bigot, scum. His rhetoric has ruined thousands of lives.
Can I ask what rhetoric is at the forefront for you that was the most hateful?
I hate his racism. He was an anti-Semite.
So regarding the racism, I myself am a Hispanic Asian woman.
Okay.
He hired me on to, represent his organization.
God bless. Everybody needs a token.
Ooh, everybody needs it. Okay, Sav, I'll let you take that. I mean, this guy's a real peach, real winner. This one.
Yeah, Andrew. And you know what? I have been noticing, ever since September 10th, when people read my press badge now, they have made a point to come up to me because this is the second time this has happened now, because oftentimes when I'm at these events, especially for my own safety, I've just been doing a lot of B-roll footage. I'm not really trying to engage with or interview these protesters because I just feel like we're at a very volatile situation in our country right now. And I'm oftentimes alone at these events. So when I was here this last Saturday, I was simply standing there and these men struck up a conversation with me because they read Turning Point USA on my badge. And again, this man got so agitated that he felt the need to say that Charlie was a racist, anti-Semite, that he was all of these horrific things. And again, I'm trying to give an example of how Charlie was not any of these things. And then this man decides to respond with racism, which is what he's accusing Charlie of. And then, the conversation goes on and he's basically talking about how the right wing is fascist. Meanwhile, he's standing in front of a giant sign, that is labeling all of the left wing's opposition as fascist. And I'm like, no, you guys are the ones that are acting in a fascistic way, silencing people, attacking people. And people in the right wing are really suffering from it and being killed because of it. Do you not see a problem with that? And of course they don't. It's really interesting because I do notice that a very angry contingent of, like I said, this older class. And, Andrew, it's funny. I've been getting the same exact comments where it's like, don't be ageist. Don't be mean to the boomers. Guess what? There's bad millennials. There's bad Gen Zers, too, that are equally as radicalized as the boomers. So, we need to call all of them out. And I don't understand why they are so aggressive. Again, Andrew, this is a 60-year-old man who is hurling what would be considered by the left wing racist insults at me because I work for an organization that's merely on the ground trying to show people what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, we just covered Lucy Martinez, the story of the teacher out of Nathan Hale Elementary School who was doing the motion to her neck.
Yeah.
And it's weird to see grown adults behaving so poorly, so terribly, so, disgustingly evil. And I just think it's abrupt and it's crazy to see, and it's really discomforting. But I will say, Sav, you're doing a phenomenal job covering this stuff, and I'm glad you're safe. I hope you stay safe because, we need you to be doing this. So always trust your gut, follow your instincts, because the left has been radicalized, and by the way, just so in a word for the boomers, actually the most violent cohort among liberals, self-described liberals, is 18 to 39.
Yeah.
So we know that actually it's the younger liberals that are more prone to actual violence. At least these people, yeah, they have some disgusting ideas, but at least you probably weren't thinking this guy was going to become violent with you necessarily. He was just being disgusting. He was being extremely rude, which fair enough. But anyways,
Andrew, if I could jump in
please.
really quickly, last thing is I do feel like this mindset is a direct result of the fact that we never did take care of Antifa, and we saw the normalization of violence, the normalization of dehumanizing, people who you view as your political opposition. This has been a decade of, again, people getting away with very violent and dehumanizing behavior. So now we're seeing public school teachers and people who are responsible with raising the children of this country, mocking a violent assassination. So really, again, volatile place that we're at as a country right now, Andrew, and being on the ground for it has been insane.